cloud. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Producing in Pandemic. Hey y'all, what gathering is this? How many times have we been gathering? Where are we now?
41 maybe? 40.
This is our 40th gathering. I love it. And it is officially our last gathering of 2020. It's been an amazing year, y'all. It's been an amazing year of, and this is us sharing our digital communication agreements as part of our modeling of good ways to collaborate remotely, and also reminds us of how we've agreed to communicate with each other. I sense we might want to update that. So in our final week of gathering this year, we will be doing the thing that we always do, which is a little bit of a survey of how is Producing in Pandemic in the United States, in North America, in South America, in England, if we have some guests from there. So please, we're going to start off with everyone introducing themselves, letting us know where you are coming from physically. And we do a decolonized greeting, so share your land acknowledgement. We'll do an access check-in to make sure the space is as accessible as possible for all of us. If all of your access needs are met, you just say, all my access needs are met, because everyone has access needs. There will also be a visual description. And because we have a little bit of a laundry list of stuff for folks to report out on, we will place that script in the chat for you to see. So just look at the chat, and we're going to repeat that. We're going to repost it a couple of times throughout the meeting so that as folks are stacking in the chat, you'll always be able to see those directions without having to scroll up. I don't like calling on people. Also, with a group as large as ours, it can get a little confusing to go who went. And so I don't like to give people the job of having to pick someone who has already gone. It's very complicated in a remote context. So we encourage you to stack in the chat. Just put your name in the chat, and that will indicate the order in which you speak. And then you get to take responsibility and agency for unmuting yourself and speaking. You don't need to be called on. You know when you're going because you know who's speaking before you. And then after you've introduced yourself, please share either a discovery that you've made in Producing in Pandemic, a challenge, or any observations that you want to share, since this is our final gathering for the year. And then after we do our beautiful check-in with all of ourselves, we will be visiting a remote gathering platform. I actually don't know the language to describe the different meeting styles of these platforms. So I look forward to us perhaps generating some language to describe the specificity of this space, but we're going to go there and see what it's like to meet eye to eye. Before we do that though, let's start. I will model to begin. Hi, I'm Claudia Alec. My gender pronouns are they, their, she, hers. You can use those interchangeably. I'm speaking to you from the so-called Bay Area, land of the Ohlone people. The people are still alive. And I'm still speaking to you from a country that has concentration camps. Let's see, I'm a visual description. I'm a Black woman, an African-American woman with a brown curly afro. I've got black biker gloves on to protect my hands, and I am sitting in front of a projected background of a large, red, magnificent theater that's rather epic looking. Like you might produce like an opera in here. And I have no idea what space it is. I grabbed it on the internet quite randomly. Let's see, challenges or discoveries this week. Oh, and my practice. My practice is I'm a transmedia social justice producer. And I will say that, you know, it's interesting. Every day I try to experiment on some platform I've never been on. And I'm also trying to like tie together threads between, oh, I think these are industry trends. So I'm continuing to be concerned and challenged by the ownership models around platforms and the difficulty for individual artists to have the tools and the circumstances to make their work and also get compensated for it. So I feel like we've replicated all of the bad dynamics of ownership in physical space. I feel like we've replicated it in all of these different digital spaces, and I'm concerned. So that's my challenge. And my, oh gosh, what would be a, well, here, I've already spoken enough. I will share at the end if there's time. I'm going to pass the mic to whoever would like to go next. Check.
I'll go next to give a moment for folks to queue up in the chat. Hello, good morning, or good afternoon. My name is Khulud Sawaf. My gender pronouns are she, hers, and I'm speaking to you from the ancestral homeland of the Osage, the Quapaw, and the Caddo people, colonially known as Fayetteville, Arkansas. And I'm part of the Calling Up Justice team. I am also a theater director and advisor. And I am a Syrian woman with olive skin color, and I wear the Muslim hijab, the Muslim head covering, dark gray color with white and pink top today, and sitting on a blue couch. And my access needs are met. Challenge or discovery this week, I got to attend a really magnificent digital production by a theater director I greatly admire, Emma Rice. She is a British theater director, and I got to watch Flying Lovers, and I feel like the conversation about doing something between theater of where the unit is a scene and a film, it was amazingly done. It was just amazingly, magnificently done. I wish there was like something like, I wish it was still going on to witness. Oh, Gigi witnessed. I would love to hear your thoughts, but I was blown away by the work that was done and very excited for the possibilities. And that was really inspiring. And with that, check, and I will pass it on to whoever would like to go next.
I'll go.
Oh.
Go ahead, Don. All right. Fill in the gap. My name's Sabrina Hamilton. I use the pronoun she, her. I am coming to you from what is colonially known as the Pelham Hills of Western Massachusetts, which is the traditional land of the Nipmuc and the Pecumtuck people. I run the Co-Festival of Performance out of here, and I'm a practicing lighting designer and director. My access needs are met. I may disappear to go feed the pellet stove because it's snowy and cold here. Visual description, I'm a 65-year-old woman with straight white hair, dark green glasses, a down jacket because it is snowy and cold and the pellet stove has not been stoked, in a peacock room with a half-open closet behind me so that the cat can get to the cat box. In terms of transmedia producing, I have to say I've watched a bunch of stuff online this week, or started to watch a bunch of stuff online this week, and most of it is not making it for me. I am clearly in that headspace or just not watching the right stuff. So if somebody has something that they have found particularly inspiring, again, any other suggestions along those lines, I remain open and waiting to be moved.
Thanks, Sabrina. Tanya here. I use they, them pronouns. My access needs are to move my camera on and off for using my lunch break well, and visual ID. I'm a white non-binary person in a blue, what is this called? I'm a slam poet, and I usually wear this kind of shirt, and then I have a poem about how gay I am. This is not exactly part of the visual ID, but it's why I can't remember. It's like a collared shirt. Okay. Because then you can't, I'm usually wearing the shirt and then I can't be like, I'm so gay that I wear collared shirts, and you probably know it because it counts as a prop. And we don't use props. We don't have sets. Oh no, what am I even doing? I'm telling you about my practice. I'm sitting in with a white wall behind me, a window and some plants, in a black 10 tree hat. I'm zooming in from the thank you. I was keeping an eye on the chat. Traditional territory of the Huron-Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, the Petun on Dish with One Spoon Treaty Territory, which is colonially known as Toronto, Canada. I'm part of the collective that puts on the Toronto Poetry Slam. And I lost track of how many shows we've done in the pandemic, but we just had our last show of the year this Saturday. And so we're working on how to produce something in the new year that will be comparable to our usually sold out 600 person annual finals showcase. So stay tuned for producing in a pandemic year 2, but it'll be like week whatever 50 something by then. Challenge or opportunity, that's the real challenge, but I think it's an opportunity to do something different. I'm grateful to be here, and I'm going to pass to Gigi.
Hi, folks. Thanks again for creating space for this meeting and having me as part of it. I'm Gabriel Grilli. I go by Gigi for short, pronouns he, him, his. And I am currently in the land of the Lenape people, Manhattan Island. I, up until today, have been artistic director of a company called Bric-a-Brac. And actually today I sent out a letter that we are closing. So I'm sort of, kind of heavy emotional place today. So it's actually fortuitous that I could be here with you and my fellow theater makers and producers who understand the challenges of that. That's probably for another discussion than today, but there's a lot of feelings and emotions around that. Visual description, I'm an Italian-American person with a short beard, brown hair, blue shirt. I have a white background with a few theater masks up. And my access needs are met. Challenge or discovery from this week. Yes, I saw Flying Lovers of Vitebsk that Khulud mentioned. It was very beautiful production, very moving. I agree with her assessment that it was really nicely staged for the camera. And I think they made some interesting choices, and it did make me miss being in the theater so much more. I also saw, I don't know if anyone else saw this or saw the original production, but there was a discussion hosted by Lincoln Center this week about the Coast of Utopia original production, Tom Stoppard's 3-part 8-hour work that was presented around 2007, I think. And I found that very moving as well. It was some of the artists, including Stoppard and the director, Jack O'Brien, several of the actors, and they discussed that production and the making of it and what an epic undertaking it was. And they talked a little bit about how, because there is no national ensemble theater of the US, that they felt a sense of having this ensemble that was running one show for like a year was like an incredible, unique experience for them. So as a person who's been focused on making ensemble work for the past decade, that really resonated with me as well. And I'm wondering if other people saw that. Thank you, Chick.
Hola, colegas. This is Carlos Alexis Cruz. Let's address access needs. I'm keeping my camera off today because I've been having bandwidth issues these days, and I realized that not streaming video makes things a little easier. I hate Spectrum internet, so I need to change from that. That's all I have to say. It's collapsed so many times. It's just ridiculous. So putting that aside, we're doing good. The family's at home, so it's also exciting to have so many vibrancy of kids and whatnot coming into your room. And everybody, we keep hearing of cases of COVID still, people close to us, which is just for those who think it's fast. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it like that. Gigi, my heart also goes to you. I mean, it must be. I know what kind of tough decision that is, and um, important chapters in life. I mean, obviously there is next chapters and more magic to do, but I think this moment right now is to not take it for granted and to just take a look at everything that has happened and like and just see the victories there. So I just am feeling, for that kind of moment when it happens. Um, I'm going back to me. I'm Carlos Alexis. I'm affiliated with the New Visit Circus Project here in Charlotte with the social circus, connecting communities through circus arts. And I am a board member of the Network of Ensemble Theaters. I am a full-time faculty associate professor of physical theater and device. Not device. Well, I'm device coordinator for KCSCTF, but I am the oh my god, diversity coordinator for my college. So so there's a ton to do, and I'm now invested in something that happened in my college that needs to be solved. So discoveries, I'm so baffled about the inventiveness, the things that work in, and the things that are still a struggle with this Zoom and virtual medium. Yesterday, a dear colleague of mine who is a Mexican American artist who created a project called Magic Kite or Papalote Mágico, did a Zoom show on, like a virtual show on Facebook Live. And it was a 10-minute play on a family that was affected by deportations. And the way that movie actually worked in this 10-minute short, even my wife that is a school teacher, she was like, this kind of thing needs to be seen in schools, and this works at this moment, even like with the level of immediacy. So there's something about that my two kids were watching it and didn't detach from the computer. So I think that even that was appealing. It was a puppet version of the show. So I just think there are nice discoveries that connect to all kind of audiences. And today I'm just thankful that also can translate to the young audiences. So yeah, I think that's about, and I'm calling from the land of the Catawba and Sugary people, Charlotte, North Carolina. Check. Passing to
Oh, sorry, Carlos. I heard check. Oh, out of the gate. I'm Heather Andersma, she, her pronouns, calling in from the land of the Ohlone people, the Chochenyo speaking people who continue to live here in what is colonially known as Berkeley, California. I am a freelance director and an emerging, I'm never sure how to call myself, an intimacy director, a soon to be intimacy director and intimacy coordinator. My access needs are met, and I am a white woman, middle-aged, reddish blonde on the bottom, true gray, the real color on top, mid-length hair, glasses, white background. And this week, I was lucky enough to see Robert O'Hara's Barbecue, and Mickey had suggested it last week, and I remember hearing about that show when it came out, but never got to see a live production of it. Was so happy to see it, loved it. And again, Mickey had said, not a ton of fancy effects or anything. It's really the script and great actors, and you really I came away feeling like I'd seen theater. As much as I appreciate spectacle in this medium. Let's see, and I'm excited to see Creation Theater's Wizard of Oz. I think that opened Friday, and they, I believe, tend to do a lot of interaction with the audience, pulling audience into scenes. So I'm excited to watch that. And I think I'm going to try to get a little watch party going, because you'll see your friends in the audience. And I think that runs through New Year's. I'll try to put it in the chat and check.
Hi, beautiful people. Rebecca, she, hers. I'm speaking to you from the ancestral lands of the Chochenyo speaking Ohlone people, colonially known as Berkeley, California. I am a middle-aged white woman sitting in a room that looks the same as other times that I've spoken to, but everything outside of the frame is in the process of moving, which is the visual description, the visual that I can see description, because I'm moving at the end of the month. But this looks very convincingly like the rubble of moving, but that's the one that it always looks like. It's a lot of theatrical rubble in front of a white wall and a wooden closet door, and I'm wearing a navy blue shirt, and I have my pandemic dyed red hair dyed braided today. And I love hearing everyone tell about all the shows that they've seen this week. I had a very busy first 2 weeks of December of seeing shows, and this past week since the last time we met, I've seen absolutely nothing. And listening to people, I've been like, oh, my big challenge this week has been thinking about like, oh, taxes. Pandemic taxes are going to be so interesting, like with COVID relief and everything, like, and that those are the conversations I've been having, like still helping people with their unemployment claims and stuff that's you know, and following all of the news happening about that and etc. But it's and also having meetings with my cohort about producing, like wrapping up this year and producing in the new year, because the grant we were given is like right on the cusp. So like, where does it even go? And those kinds of really the sort of things where I'm like, I wish I was watching a show instead. But it's also it's really important. It's just I'm noticing at this time that the kinds of conversations that I used to have, where I used to be like, oh, I know how to do this. Now I'm like, I don't know anything. I don't know how to do my taxes with COVID relief. I don't know how to write how to do grant reporting on a thing where I was like, there's just no relationship to what this used to be. What? I don't know. So it's a lot of unknowns for me heading into the new year, and I'm so grateful that we have this meeting as this thing that is just like, no, but this is here. This is this beautiful thing that's here. Yes. So babbling, but check.
Hey, everybody. I am Rob Neal, he, him, his. I am a New York neo-futurist. I am currently, for another day, in the Lenape territory, near where a lot of Munsee tribes were, in Hell's Kitchen, Manhattan. But tomorrow I get in a car and drive across, I think, 9 states to Wisconsin. To a county, actually, where it's not as bad in Wisconsin as it is in the rest of Wisconsin. So that part's good. I will actually see fewer people over the next 3 weeks than I do normally in New York. My access needs are met, and I am a white man with brown and gray hair and yellow lensed glasses. I'm wearing a gray long sleeve t-shirt, and I am sitting in all the things, surrounded by the things I'm packing. There is a very red lampshade in the distance behind me and some artwork as well in this room. And I am facing some similar challenges, just trying to figure out what we are doing neo-futuristically after the end of this month. We are, well, I know some of the things we're doing. We're taking a pause and not creating new shows for the month of January, and we're having digital retreat days where we're going to assess the things that at one point seemed to be band-aids and ways to do things temporarily, but now seem to be the way we do things. And are we collectively, because I am part of an artistic collective, for those of you who don't know, the New York Neo-Futurists. And so we have to make sure that we have collective buy-in for what we're making, and also check in kind of as a group on the needs of the artists and other people in the company. That being said, we do have, we are in the midst of our best of shows, and we are releasing three. Today's our second of three best of bonus episodes of our podcast Hit Play, which we pivoted to in March. I think that will make it so we have 53 episodes this year. And then and the last one will come out on the 31st. And then we also have our Best of Cyber Wrench, which is the live show that we have been doing once a month since August. And that will include not just things from Cyber Wrench, but things adapted from the podcast Hit Play and those few months that we did shows at the beginning of the year. And that will be 20 plays for 2020 on the 26th. I'll put our link tree in the chat so you can see those things if you'd like. And I have not only seen lots of the neo-futurists have been doing best of shows, the companies in San Francisco, Chicago, London, and another company in Michigan. So I've been watching their shows, which have been interesting, particularly the shows that Chicago and San Francisco did where they use GatherTown to get people together post-show to have more of an interactive hangout, including karaoke in the bathroom, which was very interesting. And I also, I don't know if you all have talked about this because it's been a bit since I've been here, but I also watched Nate, a one-man show by Natalie Palamides, which is on Netflix, and just an amazing and daring performance from a time pre-pandemic. So it's not just someone producing something that was current like that, but it came out, and that was one of the things that I just watched that was very inspiring. And it was shot in a theater. Also, several definitely research it because there's some trigger warnings that go along with it. It has a lot of audience participation and is funny in parts, but it also deals with consent and is pretty intense at times. So don't just dive in there thinking that it's something that it's not. I think that covers some stuff. It's good to see y'all. It's good to be here. And I'm really sorry to hear what's going on, Gigi. That's these times, man.
Indeed, indeed. Well, I'm sending you all beautiful, good vibes. This is our 40th gathering. When we began this exercise, we began it with the promise of, oh, we'll do it a couple of times until it doesn't feel necessary anymore. And every week, it continues to feel necessary. And part of our practice is to really have a real conversation. So this weekend, we had a real conversation about, okay, how is this serving us? How is this serving you? How is this serving the field? And we decided we need to keep doing this. While there is a vaccine or several vaccines that are out, they are not being distributed with any type of equity. And the chances of us being able to return to any type of pre-pandemic paradigms, those are getting more narrow and more narrow. And so it feels like, much as Rob was saying in terms of his companies retreating and taking a pause and a break to look at what are Band-Aids, they're actually skin grafts. What are things that we thought were experiments, and now what are things that are now becoming our main practice? So we're going to keep doing this, but we did decide we'd like to do this a little more accessibly. So I'm going to say three things out loud. One is we're going to continue gathering on Mondays for 2021. We're going to keep doing it. We're maintaining this as an anti-capitalist space. We don't charge you any money. That does mean that we depend on everyone to help keep the space going. So we appreciate all of the volunteer labor that folks provide, especially in the act of inviting new voices to the space. The exercise of peer exchange is only valuable when we have lots of peers in the space. So just shout outs for all of the labor that's been done over the past 40 sessions and future labor to be done. We will be moving our time twice a month. So we'll be maintaining this for the West Coast, I guess, morning time, East Coast early afternoon time, twice a month. And then on the other days, we will be meeting later in the afternoon. So we will be meeting 10 a.m. West Coast time and then 1 p.m. West Coast time every other week. We are hoping that that will allow some flexibility for parents who have not been able to fully attend because they've been busy doing homeschooling, for folks who have had some work conflicts that have been consistent because they are literally teaching. We also have recognized that recording these sessions is awesome. It's been incredibly valuable to be able to go back and revisit something somebody said, to go, what did that person say? I want to go check that out. What was it? We're getting a little bit better, and just big shout out to Rebecca Pingree for your labor in helping us start the massive project of indexing all of the learnings that we have been sharing with each other. We're going to continue that practice. Yes, would you please? We're also possibly going to be inviting some more people who might be excited to learn from what we did in our last 40 sessions, to do some heavy lifting with the indexing project. And we're also looking forward to figuring out how we can more successfully share out what we exchange and learn in this space. That said, this space is not a performative space. It's not a show. We're not doing a show for people. It's a lab. So we're going to maintain the labbiness of it. So it's okay that, like last session, y'all, was so good. It was so messy. And we don't have a recording of it. We discovered that Zencastr refuses to record if one participant doesn't have the right bandwidth. So we discovered, okay, this is messy. We big shout out to Viviana Vargas. Thank you so much, Viviana Vargas, for helping to lead us through that. Now, Viviana's been able to use Zencastr very successfully for her podcast, which I highly recommend everybody check out, because she's speaking with visionary leaders imagining new ways to do things. So I feel like her podcast is the perfect thing for everybody to be listening to right now. But my discovery was strong enough that we literally changed our producing plan for Every 28 Hours Plays podcast this weekend. So instead of using a Zencastr platform, we recorded it using Zoom, and it was so beautiful. I will share a learning I had this week. I realized I had one to share, which was, so while my amazing team was doing the Every 28 Hours Plays podcast, I was participating in a different podcast about Star Trek. One of the management techniques that they used, because it was very professional. They had our script in a Google spreadsheet. And then they did something and it blew my mind, y'all. I don't know if you've ever done this. I felt so slow. I was today years old when I found out you could do this, and now I'm going to do it forever and ever. Just highlighted each section blue when we got through it in real time as we were going through the text. And it was amazing. And I was like, oh, right. They just had a person highlighting the fields blue, but it helped you to keep your track in the script and made sure we were all on the same page. And it was a really beautiful remote way to help keep us all gathered. And so sharing a learning, sharing a challenge, the watch party, the producing effort of having to do watch parties. Now we're producing a watch party. It used to be, I could just go to a show and see my friends at the show. That if I wanted to have socialization, I didn't have to do a bunch of extra labor to schedule stuff with people and arrange things with people. I would just go to the show. That's part of what I was paying for, I realized. I was not only paying for the play itself, I was paying for them having done the labor to make a social outing for me where I could just attend and see my friends. Now, I can watch a video by myself, which is very lonely, or I can try to make, so it's I'm recognizing that the watch party is a muscle that I'm growing, and it's a challenge to schedule people to attend a watch party together, but I want an audience with people that I know. So that's a thing. The Network of Ensemble Theaters has a grant opportunity out, and their grant opportunity, I believe, is still open. So if you are a member of the Network of Ensemble Theaters, please apply for this grant opportunity and get some, what they did is they took the travel exchange grant and they've made it into just a exchange grant where you can exchange all sorts of things. Yes, Sabrina, please.
I actually have used that grant, which I got in the last round, to allow me to be here. So just
That's amazing.
Plug that way.
That's amazing. Oh, come on. See, that's amazing.
And that's what paid for the OBS workshop also.
Oh,
we did.
see, I don't even know these things. That's amazing. Yes.
I would love to know how you did that, but that's awesome.
Well, I believe, well, how did you do it, Sabrina? You just wrote it. What was the,
I
what was,
wrote the proposal, which was very, very simple. It's been really stripped down and really fast turnaround. Found out that I got it and could use it for whatever I wanted to use it for. So since the Co-Festival was supposed to be part of the Network of Ensemble Theaters Microfest series, I used it first to talk to the other microfests that were canceling or pivoting to sort of our natural cohort to check in that way. And then I've used the rest of it to both pay for my time or help me contribute to this.
I was 100% unmuted, so you got to hear me being like, I'm trying to copy paste.
One last thing though is that this right now, the membership dues for the Network of Ensemble Theater have been made flexible. So there should be no barrier to this. And it's really aimed at not the larger institutions, but the smaller ensemble-based folks that I think a lot of us are part of.
So I put into the chat, the first link is the pay what you can link. So that lets you know if you're not already a member of the Network of Ensemble Theaters, that's how you join. And yeah, it's pay what you can until June 2021. They're basically like, hey, let's make opportunity not something that you have to jump through a bunch of hoops to get to. Let's actually make this accessible. And then the next link, I believe, is the correct link for applying for the next opportunity. So I just want to let folks know that exists. Yes, Sabrina.
And there are different kinds of memberships. So you can apply, so you can join as an ensemble or an affiliate or as an individual or student as well. So if you're not affiliated with an ensemble, that is also not a barrier.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I would argue, and this is a complex thing I'm about to say that's dangerous. I apologize, Network of Ensemble Theaters. I would argue to a certain extent, remote collaboration requires ensemble skill set. So there's a lot of newbies to the field of ensemble creation right now because they're trying to figure it out, but you just can't do it by yourself. And it just requires some ensemble-y things. Thank you for mentioning the Netflix one-man show, Rob. This is pre-pandemic. Netflix has been producing one-person shows. The aesthetics of the one-person show on a Broadway stage are so similar to the aesthetics of stand-up comedy that it translated seamlessly to streaming networks, to HBO, to cable networks. My question is, the work that we're creating, does it have similar aesthetics that can translate to some of these streaming networks? Does the platform require different aesthetics? And do those aesthetics demand different types of compensation? Curious. Before I move on, does anyone, like I just kind of said a big thing about Netflix. Does anyone want to weigh in? It's okay if you're like, that's enough. We don't need to talk about Netflix and one-person shows.
I don't really follow Claudia, so that's maybe just
yes,
has something to say. Maybe you two can have a convo.
Totally. Well, I think that a lot of the work that, and this came up because I was attempting to package a bunch of work that had been produced in the last 6 months for a streaming platform. The aesthetics of a television shoot, the aesthetics of a movie shoot, they read as professional. The aesthetics of the stand-up comedian, for some reason, you just put a person on a stage with a microphone and that aesthetically is fine on the screen. But the second you start adding more theatrical elements, it starts to become something that might not actually fit. Netflix has successfully presented several one-person shows that include a bunch of different elements where I go, this is beyond stand-up. This is theater.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not sure if this is exactly where you're, if it's, well, draft, here we go. So it's very interesting now how, particularly in New York, the people that are able to use theaters are people that are shooting television and film or making it seem like that, not that they're doing theater, because doing theater in a theater is illegal, but doing a shoot of something is acceptable, right? So like the space that we were in March, the Crane that we've been in for a decade, they've transformed that space so it, whatever happens in there currently can be not seen as theater in order for it to happen, even though it's theatrical.
Interesting. I sense we're going to be using the word theatrical more in the future. Also, thank you for mentioning GatherTown as a platform. We're about to go check out Meet Eye to Eye. As I was mentioning, I was like, I'm not exactly sure what you call these different platforms. We've gathered, I think, on Air Meets. We checked out Hopin too. We've done a bunch of field trips to these different spaces. I did some solo field trips to Clubhouse. Turns out I can't bring y'all with me. It's a weird Clubhouse system. I don't know what it's about. I don't like it. But I'm excited about us leaving this space and going to check out Meet Eye to Eye. Before we go there, let's take a couple of minutes just to talk through, did everybody successfully download it? What were challenges? And what are some ideas we have about it before we fully leave this space and go on a field trip? And before we fully leave this space and go on the field trip, I will repeat my closing remarks and whatnot, just so that we know everything that's going on for the future. Yeah.
I mean, similar to GatherTown, I find it interesting that having not gone into it yet and just put it in and created my avatar, I find it interesting, kind of the avatar creation and how, there are limited options, although there are more options in this than there are in GatherTown. And then that I would believe is how I'm going to move around and try to encounter folks. But yeah, for me, it was pretty basic and easy to get onto my computer and to get to the point where I'm ready to go through that door to wherever we're supposed to go to.
I muted. Speaking of the door we go through, so I'm looking at this. I made us a space called Producing in Pandemic, but the room I made only takes 6 people. But apparently there's an infinity space. Can you talk to us about the infinity space?
Sure. So just so you guys know, I'm currently working with Eye to Eye. My title there is Director of Performances, although we haven't really had a performance on there yet. So we're kind of at the phase of like looking for guinea pigs or people who are interested in hosting performances. We've mainly done a lot of corporate events. So we've done a lot of things like scavenger hunts and game shows and escape rooms and stuff of that nature that used to be sort of in. Tyler, who started the company, had an in-person corporate event company in the Bay Area, and he kind of pivoted and built this whole platform. And then he was like, oh, we can do other things on this platform. We can host comedians, we can host music, we can host theater. So I'm kind of one of the people who's helping to spearhead that. So it's exciting that I can be here as a colleague of you guys and as a representative of the Meet Eye to Eye. Yes, so what Claudia was referring to is the platform is definitely growing. So Rob, what you experienced with the avatar limitations, that's definitely something that I know it's in the works for there to be sort of like hundreds of more options for you to have in terms of selecting your avatar, as well as the maps. When we get into the space, you'll see the maps. Some of them are sort of standard looking kind of Zelda. We call the platform Zoom meets Zelda. So you'll see that there's sort of Zelda-esque kind of graphics going on for people who are familiar with that video game. And again, that's being really every day, there's new updates happening. So Claudia, the technical capacity right now that limits rooms, it's hard to describe, but there are events and then there are rooms within the events. So any one event could have multiple rooms, could have I think the platform allows for like an unlimited amount of rooms at this point in time. So the idea would be to keep the platform fairly stable at this point. They're asking to limit to 6 people per room, but there could easily be however many people are on this call in one event. So there's an ongoing event on the site called Infinity. Here, I'll put in the information into the chat. And Infinity is something that you can join by, once you sign up, you click on the blue door on the right and you'll see Infinity as one of the options. And the password is explore. And I believe that that all of us will be able to access this at the same time. For those of you who are just looking for the basic information about how to get it, I'm putting that in the chat as well, how to get there. And I think, and it has this same information. If you scroll down that page, it has under tips and tricks. It explains you're welcome to join our free open public event, Infinity, password explore. I'd invited our CEO to join us, but it looks like he's on the road and I haven't heard back from him. He wanted to come into the Zoom call. I was like, great, but I haven't seen him yet. So he knows more about the technical stuff in case people had technical questions. I'm really like a theater person who's helping them, you know, to make events happen on this site. So yeah. Are there any other questions that I can answer before we start our journey?
Well, Sabrina and I were having a great conversation before we started recording this session about just frankly how annoying it is to have to sign up for things over and over and over again. The weight of having to literally download materials to our devices. How many spaces am I downloading? It's interesting. When I get theater subscriptions, I don't have to have a piece of their theater inside my home. So I'm just curious about, again, the entry point for folks. How did it feel to do the download? How did it feel to sign up? It sounds like Rob felt like it was a rather seamless experience.
I find it frustrating to, again, have to download something before I know what it is. To not have some sort of tour or basic portal that allows me to decide whether, and also how much space is it going to take up? I don't even know that. And what is going to be done with my information when it asks for an email, when it asks for, you know, those kinds of things. And, you know, there's password security and how many can I remember or how many do I have to write down in my little, you know, there's all that kind of stuff. So I want to know more about it before.
I'm just repeating what you just said, Sabrina, because like, yes, can we demand that all of these platforms, before we download anything, tell us how much room they're going to take? Like with clear language that regular lay people can understand. This is how much room I'm taking on your computer. That's going to set us up for success.
I also want to know, if I do decide to delete it, where are all the places I have to go to delete it? Because very often you don't just delete it one place, the little app thing, it's often put various things in other places on your computer. And I find my computer keeps, you know, my old computer was definitely full of lots of vestigial stuff that way.
That is the truth.
I tried to just recently during the call, like I downloaded it and I tried to log in and I didn't have an email associated with my account. So then I tried to find another way to get in and I very quickly got this message. So you just told me I don't have an email. Wait, now I have an email? What does this even mean? I don't know what this means. Please help. So far the login experience has not been seamless, but I'm glad we're doing it together. I feel like any new platform, because of, you know, pandemic fatigue and frustration and like the emergent design of these things, like really requires a sort of communal walkthrough and like a slow onboarding with lots of opportunities to answer questions and troubleshoot things together, because otherwise, you know, why would you even do it, or how do you even get through something like this? Like, you think they're not ready for me, I'm just going to leave, you know?
100%. And it's like, to a certain extent, doing a communal walkthrough where you have access to a real person in real time to learn from what you're having difficulty with. These all feel like necessities that we do in our physically embodied exchanges, and we're just figuring out how to replicate them digitally. I love it. Who's
That-
just joined us? Hi, hello. Oh, your audio is connecting. All right, I'm going to take a moment. I'm also going to say this out loud to all of my colleagues. This is part of my practice. I now try to aggressively greet people when they enter the remote space. So I'm aggressively greeting you and inviting you to update your the way you're labeled so that we will be able to refer to you accurately. Welcome to the space.
Claudia, I wanted to add a footnote on doing walkthroughs. In my mind, it's sort of really important to be very tech savvy, a script for a walkthrough, because it's really possible if you're online together on one platform, or even if you're on with the phone, how do you get folks together? And the feedback, like I had one session where it was very, very painful to, you know, as many times as you say to someone, you have to mute, you have to close the tab, etc. It still happens. And sometimes it's really worse than others. And some platforms like seem to be more predictable, as in I could script it and it would go that way for most users, but others, depending on devices, who knows? I'm still tracking out the features to be able to say like 2 scripts or 3 scripts to be able to prevent that like experience.
I also think that one of our big lessons learned is from last week's session on Zencastr is we should always have our Zoom. We should always have our Zoom as a place to go if we're really confused. The Discord is also that space. We want transmedia Discord space if we're ever like confused, trying to figure out what's going on. But I want to welcome our colleague with the who's labeled as Gabriel. I'm assuming that you two know each other and that this is not us getting Zoom bombed. If I had it, if I really like, for some reason I was just like, oh, I feel like I know who this person is. This will be fine. I would have had a very different vibe. You would have seen me doing this. So I'm just speaking like I'm very, very calm, but I'm doing all kinds of things, secret texting. But I feel like you're a real person. Hi, hello.
Hi.
Anyway, welcome to the space.
My name's somehow showing up as Gigi, huh? That's
I know. I was
bizarro.
going to say, if you want to relabel yourself, that way we can refer to you accurately. And Claude or anyone, if you want to drop our introductory script into the text, so we can get to know you. Hi, welcome.
Right. I'm not Gigi. That's bizarro. I've never seen that before on Zoom, and that proves to your point, Claudia, that I was overhearing. I'm Tyler, everyone. Hello. I recognize a couple faces that I've seen before. I feel like I've seen you before, Tanya. And Claudia, I feel like I've seen you before as well. My name's Tyler. I made the platform Meet Eye to Eye, which adds herding cats back to events, essentially. It's fun, but it's more difficult than Zoom, that's for sure. It's a degree of complexity more. And yeah, Gigi organized this sesh, right? In particular for Meet Eye to Eye to check it out. And I was driving down to LA yesterday. I got here at like 2 in the morning and then finally went to bed late. So that's why I'm a little late. Apologies, everyone.
Problem.
Yeah.
Just put into the chat
Oh yeah, my
our
name
little
and all
our
that
little
stuff.
script for introducing yourself to the space. We invite people to share their name, their gender pronouns, a land acknowledgement of the place that you're at, share a little bit about what your practice is, a visual description for those of us participating in an audio only aspect. If you have any access needs, you let us know what they are. If not, you're fine. You just let us know your access needs are met.
I don't get to see everyone else's intros, but I'm going to change my name to Tyler. And it's too early for me to do all that other stuff at the moment. You can refer to me as anything you'd like. I'll put that in there too. Kinda. I don't even know how to change my name. I've never gone through that. That's so bizarre. It must have been Gigi, your personal invite link or something weird.
I think so. Yeah, that's probably because I forwarded you the invite. So that must have been what happened. Yeah.
I don't think I can change my name. I think I have to leave and come back from the public.
Well, don't worry about it. We're going to be we're at the very end, or at least we're at the closing part of this part of our session that we're sharing with each other, and then we're going to transition into the space itself. My hope is we will successfully get into it, get to chat with each other a little bit. We generally work for, oh, and I'm also going to say this out loud. I've said this a few times. When we first started gathering 40 sessions ago, we gathered for about an hour. And then we accidentally extended to an hour and a half. It wasn't a choice, it just happened. And then I was like, I thought this was an hour. And then it was an hour and a half. I want to give us permission. Currently, we are actually really filling 90 minutes, but I want to give us permission in the future. If we only have 60 minutes of exploration to do, that's fine. That said, I'm grateful that we have an extra half an hour to actually go to this space and check it out. So we were just talking through some of the intake stuff. I have a question, Gigi, Tyler, is there captioning in the site? Like, I'm just wondering how accessible it is for deaf users. Since we don't have any deaf folks in the group today, I'm just going to verbally ask you right now, do you have captions? How does that work?
There is an internal chat box, but as far as I know, there's no capacity for captions as of yet. Can you confirm that, Tyler?
Yeah, there's no captions yet. It is built on WebRTC, which is the same thing this is built on. So it's actually not too unfeasible to add captions in the future. Captions are a whole nother potential thing that can go awry at points, right? You know, it depicts it incorrectly, and then you have to enunciate differently, and you can't do accents. But we'll cross that bridge. You know, we have our MVP. It's kind of like the minimum that we're aiming for to like prove the product and showcase the functionality. So no captions yet, but someday.
Well, I imagine that that platform, probably the same workaround we've done for our Zoom sessions, would work for that. So our workaround using Web Captioner, the open source free web captioning software, where you just have a second window open and it's capturing any audio that's being picked up, I imagine that a similar setup would work for our deaf community. But I encourage you, now I'm talking asynchronously, possibly to a couple of users who I might invite to check it out, just to let you know. I'm encouraging y'all check it out and let us know how it worked for you. I love that there's an automatic chat function though, because that automatically provides at least some level of accessibility. I've been deeply frustrated with Clubhouse just because for a big portion of my community, they can't use that app. Like, it's just not accessible to them. It's a Clubhouse with no door for them. They can't get in. So any last observation? Well, you had asked the question, Sabrina, and I want to say, I'm just going to say it out loud again because I loved it. It's very rare that we actually have the person who designed the platform in the conversation with us. We were talking about how it's really useful to know what's happening. Like when you're signing up for different platforms, it can feel like you're doing something vulnerable because so many tech companies sell your information.
Yeah.
It's interesting because when you're signing up for a theater company subscription, you don't have the same feelings of tension, or at least I feel like there's less tension there when you're buying a ticket for an event. But when you're subscribing to a platform, suddenly I'm like, okay, what you doing with my email? How do we know what you're doing with our email?
Yeah, we should make it more obvious that we don't do anything. It's like everybody's data is just their data. Nothing's retained in the cloud, and you can just delete your stuff. We have no intentions of using people's data without their permission. And yeah, it's as private as we can make it. It's like built on Amazon, and it's built on these common tools that are secure. So you have security and privacy. And if you ever want to just delete your account, you can.
Well, the other thing, Sabrina, you were talking about, which I loved, which was deletion description, like instructions on how to delete. So you actually delete things completely. So you're not left with artifacts in your computer that are weird and slowing your computer down. I loved that as a suggestion too. But what I really loved was, and we were always talking about this as a group, what are the analog tools or practices we use in regular physically engaged embodied producing that translate to a digital space? And signage is one. Having a sign that tells me I'm not doing anything with your data, that makes me, the user, feel safe and makes it more likely for me to go, oh yeah, I'll just sign up for this. I like that.
And also, how big is it? How much am I downloading? Is something I'd like to know.
Presently, you are downloading close to, I think it's 180 megabytes. It's a big.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah. It's larger than you're used to, but we're about to store all the backgrounds into the cloud, so it'll be small.
Ooh, okay, I like that. But I'm also, me saying I don't know what that means, that was me being a little I actually do kind of understand.
Yeah, I could tell.
Places are. But in terms of communicating that to your layperson user, how do we do that? Like, how do you even describe, like, this is going to take up this much room? Is it just megabytes? You just need to understand your megabytes? Do we just need to understand the storage of our devices?
So there is definitely we want to provide users enough info to install and get into the platform, but not too much, right? If I gave them all the precautionary measures, then we would lose them before they even hit the install link. So I think our strategy here is you hit install and you find out how big it is. I haven't seen too much where 200 megabytes is too much for someone's computer, but in that case, we have customer service available. So you would just chat us and be like, there's a problem. Yeah.
And Tyler, I don't feel like this is a problem for you to solve. This is me doing the Claudia Alec thing. I always do conversations where I'm like, oh, this very tiny thing, this is a global issue for everyone. I look forward to us figuring this out over the next 7 to 12 months. But I do think that this is going to become a thing for a lot of us as we are living in circumstances that encourage us to download larger platforms that allow us to do remote connections, and they take room on our computers. We're going to need to understand what that means.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why we're storing everything in the cloud, and our platform is going to be a shell application that downloads. And also, I mean, you aim minimum viable product. You're like, here's the bare minimum, and then you start adding what's necessary. So our minimum viable product is a larger install. And in the future, we're going to remove that pain point of having too many of them by having them in the cloud. And when you're trying to open it and you're opening an old one, it's going to tell you, hey, you got to install the latest. Eventually, it'll just be a shell application like Zoom that you just open and it links you to the right one. Yeah. I'm constantly juggling the 50 things that you can kind of look into, right? And I feel like hosting events or being in even the startup space, if you're looking at all the outcomes and trying to accommodate all the needs, it turns you a little bipolar. You're like, this thing's great, and here's all the positive, but then you also have to look at all those pain points, and the install size is potentially one of those. And you have to kind of weigh them against each other. So we did add some usability things recently. We added single sign-on, which makes it significantly easier to sign up for an account. Yeah.
Well, 100% in terms of, again, when we're bringing up these things in our conversations, these are not critiques of your design. They're more observations on a global scale about
Right.
things we as users, practitioners, producers are going to be navigating through on a long-term basis. And I'm also just going to say, I try not to use medicalized language around neuroatypicalness to describe different processes. So I wouldn't describe it as bipolar, but I do understand what you were talking about in terms of, oh, it can actually make you feel incredibly, I don't know, distracted, pulled in several different directions to try and serve lots and lots of different needs for your different audience constituencies. And I also hear you saying, you know, you're trying to do minimal viable product. You're trying to figure out, hey, what can we get out there that people can use so we can see if it's working and then get folks to invest and get into it. So I'm excited for us to go check it out and see what the possibilities are in the knowledge that this is early days. And but it's super exciting.
Love that.
Oh, go ahead, please.
I just wanted to add, like, since we're here, Tyler, I think you may have joined with sound just after I showed, like, in terms of minimal viable product. There was like a challenge for me to navigate. I have a screenshot here. I'll show you. It said, you know, log in using. I put in my email because I thought I was registering, and then I was like, okay, let me use this without email. You know, we're being directed to go in this door, and I felt like I was still required to put in an email, and this is the message that I got. So,
Email exists because you made an account back in the day, huh?
Well, I made like less than 15 minutes beforehand, I think.
I had a similar experience, which is why I did a shout out to you, Tanya, saying, ooh, us sharing this experience together is useful. So I logged in. There's two different ways to log in. You can sign up or you can log in. If you've already signed up, you need to make sure you're not using the sign up form to log in. If you try to use the sign up form to log in, it gives you that error message because you've already signed up. I believe that is the error message you were witnessing, I think.
We're going to try and go there and see what happens. Will we have time to come back here to chat, to debrief a little, or not so much?
6. You know, we were supposed to, and I, of course, did too much chitty chatting right now. So here's the deal. I'm going to leave this room open. I've got openness and freedom. So if folks want to come back here after checking the space out for 10 or 15, I'm going to keep this open until 11:45. So
Claudia,
that way.
sorry to interrupt, but on that issue, if you leave Zoom open and go into Meet Eye to Eye, you will not get video connectivity in Eye to Eye. So yeah, go ahead, Tyler.
It's hit or miss. Just like Claudia was saying, it's like system by system. I think on 2 of my 3 systems, I can have video going on 2 things and sometimes microphone on 2 things, but better just to close all the other things.
Totally. My recommendation for all of us is, if you're using one computer, fully leave Zoom, just come back. I'm leaving it open on this computer and I'm on Meet Eye to Eye on a separate device. So this space will stay open until 11:45, but I'm going to encourage us to leave this space now and go to Meet Eye to Eye. We're going to go to the room that Gigi mentioned, the Infinity room. I'm so excited.
Which room within Infinity, Gigi? Is there a particular one?
There's rooms within it.
Oh yeah, there's worlds within worlds. Infinity
Right,
is comprised. We should all go.
What do you suggest?
Machu Picchu. Go to
Okay.
Machu Picchu.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we're all going to go to Machu Picchu.
Any other passwords for Machu Picchu, or do we just, if we
Yeah,
have
the password.
just go?
Yeah, the password's only for Infinity, and then within Infinity, you can just go to some places. There are some places you can't go, but you'll discover how to get into those while you're in Infinity. So Machu Picchu is just open. You're going to click Infinity, and the password for Infinity, once again, is explore with an exclamation point, all lowercase.
All
You
right.
can tell I do this all the time. Yeah, and then the steps to log in and sign up is first, when you open it, click sign up to create your account. You'll verify your email, and then once you verified, click login.
I'm there. I'll see you guys. Mwah.
Cool. See you there in a sec.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tyler. Bye.
See y'all in there. I know I can just mute and turn off video in Zoom, so that's what I'm going to do here, just in case
And
anyone
in
comes
fact,
back.
as we're getting in there, Tyler, I want to ask you 2 more quick questions. So you, again, we rarely have the person who actually built the site
Yeah.
in our sessions. I love it.
Yeah.
So what was the main purpose of this platform for you? Like, what were you hoping people would do on it?
People can't interact naturally online. Like, you can't look at each other and you can't run around a space. And I couldn't find that when COVID happened. I wanted like Zelda meets Zoom. When you like run around, you see each other. And then that's why I made it. So it really adds this like human component where you can actually make eye contact and run around and see a physical space, and you can implant information and content within that space. Yeah.
Won't let me join. I'm so annoyed. It's saying it wasn't possible to join the room. I can't join Machu Picchu. I don't know why not.
How long have you been logged in?
I've been logged in, I want to say, for the entirety of this meeting. So I've been logged in for at least an hour.
Let's reload the app maybe.
I can do that. I'm
Yeah,
logged out.
it'll disconnect over time if your internet removes, or if your computer removes the internet from that app because other things are going on. Let me open mine.
So far, what kind of people are using the site?
We use it for team building events. Here or there for other classes and whatnot. We have not yet branched into performances, although it can be great for them. So there's a long list of things that we've done in there. You know, we've done like mixology classes, we've done some performances, we do a lot of team building events.
Oh, and we didn't really mention this out loud in our video, so we should say this. I noticed that the site, there's a little avatar of you, but then there's also like a video window, so you can see people. So when you're like, if somebody's doing a mixology class, are they able to like really show video of themselves mixing a drink, but they're meeting in this kind of cartoon digital space?
Yeah, you'll see that it's a cartoon. You can broadcast a user like really high quality to everyone. If you're on the site, there's a broadcast feature that you'll eventually uncover, or when we're in the platform, you'll see that too. And you are like presented to everyone really high quality, etc. I don't know if that answered your question.
All of my questions are so loose because it's just about, hey, what are we going to do when we get there? I'm also, as we're chatting, I'm attempting to get to Machu Picchu. And it's proving as difficult as summiting the actual Machu Picchu. What's up? I wonder if we're trying to all enter the space at the same time. That might be what's going on.
Yeah, I think there's a bug that if somebody enters, if somebody enters that room, it like resets your password. That doesn't make sense though. I think
I've successfully entered Infinity. So I'm in Infinity, but it's not letting me enter the room. But it does say 5 people are in there, and there's a maximum of 8, it looks like.
Your app disconnected from the internet despite you being in Infinity, or it's saying that you're in Infinity, it won't join the room. So I just suggest that you reload the app.
I did. I can try that again. Let me try it one more time. Shut it. That's always my step. You shut it all down, then you turn it back on again.
Right.
So, how long have you been doing Meet Eye to Eye?
Since COVID started.
So only since March.
Yeah. I got the concept right on my birthday, which was March 10th, and the last day that I did an in-person event. And then I was there for like 2 weeks, sat there for like 2 weeks, and I was like, I want to host my events online, but there's no way for me to actually like host how my events flow is like people can interact and like they can run around. And so, yeah, over the course of 2 weeks, I kind of came up with the concept, and we have a patent on the eye contact thing.
On the
And
eye contact thing?
yeah, I'll show you once we're in there.
Fiddlesticks. I'm feeling real annoyed that I can't get in. I don't know why. Partially because I tested this before and I was utterly successfully able to enter I made a room called Producing in Pandemic. I successfully entered it and was happy. But we decided it would be better to do Infinity so we could all be in the same space.
And you've gone on this computer and you've gone in on this computer, and it's not like a VPN. Sometimes at the step of actually entering a room, it's people's VPN that's blocking. I see everyone else in Infinity.
Yeah,
8 people in there now.
Yeah, this is very annoying.
Lots in Machu Picchu.
Everybody else is having the fun times and I'm missing out. Well, I just want to encourage you to go to the space, go have fun. I'm going to keep trying to get in.
Okay. Yeah, I think close Zoom. It might be Zoom causing the problem too.
No, it's a completely different computer. Like, that's why I'm irritated. I'm like, I was successfully on Zoom running this meeting and in a separate space doing all the stuff. And I was like, I know how this works. And then I left the space, logged out, logged back in so I could enter Infinity. And now it says it wasn't possible to join the room. Uh-oh. What I can't wait is that everyone's going to come back and they're going to be like, it was great. We had so much fun.
Yeah, I better jump in there. Sorry.
I'm
going to jump in there and just say hi to everyone, and then I'm going to come back here to try and help you.
Okay, you won't let me join that. Okay, well, how about I just go to the theater? I'm just going to go to the theater. Okay, it says there's only 6 people in here. Join. It wasn't possible to join the room. Green room. Okay, you have a password. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, I've done something and I think I can't get out. Okay. All right. Oh, that sucks. I might have to shut this fully down. Okay. Escape. All right. I can't join because I don't have a password. I didn't cancel. There we go. That cancel button is blue. Might be better if it's red. Dummies like me that don't see a cancel button. All right. Join. It wasn't possible to join the room. Theater. Join. Join the theater. Join the theater. Maybe if I do this button. Okay, join Infinity. Okay. Now, join Machu Picchu. Join Machu. Okay, fiddly-dee. I'm just doing the same button, pushing over and over again. I'm just hitting the join button. It wasn't possible to join the room. Refresh. Join Infinity. Password. Machu Picchu. Join. It's not working. Hey, Sabrina. Did you get in? I never. Oh, you're gone forever. Okay, well, that's okay. Fiddlesticks. All right, well, maybe I'll just fully log off then. Log out. Quit. Escape. Let me out. Meet eye to eye. Quit. Meet eye to eye. Quit it. Fully quit it. Okay, now relaunching it. Okay. I like a rainbow eye. Okay. Oops. Putting in password, logging in, not signing up. There I am. There's my little avatar. It looks like me. I'm hitting the door. That kind of reminds me of okay. I've entered infinity accurately. The doorway reminds me of the Twilight Zone. And now I'm hitting join. Join. They must be in there having a great time. Where's the maze? The maze requires a password. And once I accidentally hit on something that requires a password, oh, there's a cancel button. It's just at the bottom of the page where I can't see it. Interesting. Okay, okay. Maybe there was a button that I couldn't see. Join. It wasn't possible to join the room. Why wasn't it possible to join the freaking room? Maybe because it really is 6 people. Okay, but it's not letting me join the theater. See, I can't join the theater. I can't join the town. Okay. Well, I'm going to join my producing and pandemic room. Boom. Won't let me join it. I was in this room successfully earlier. It wasn't possible to join the room. Okay. I don't understand why it's not letting me join the rooms that I joined previously. Well, I have discovered some glitch that this particular platform has. Hello, producing and pandemic audience, you are witnessing a failure in real time. I'm not exactly sure what the deal is because I was successfully in this room by myself. Oh, I wonder if I just need to. Testing. Testing, 1, 2, 3. The microphone works. I can change my avatar. That's fun. I'm gonna be Bushido. I'm a cute little Bushido. Well, gee whiz. Well, I'll say this to myself just as a private thought. Minimal viable product should always be designed with universal access in mind. I recognize that that feels like the opposite of minimal viable product, but in my mind, the minimal thing to meet is the user needs of the disabled user. Because if you meet those needs, you've met everybody's needs. That's just a Claudia Alec big old fat opinion though. And this bit of inaccessibility is not about designing, I think, for access. Hey. So I've been unable to get in. Were you able to get in? Oh, I can't hear you. You're muted.
I was just connecting. I didn't hear you.
I've been fully unable to get into the room. It's been bumming me out. Just trying over and over again to get in. And it's just been like, you can't log in. uh-oh, you can't log in. And I'm like, but I was the first person logged in. I logged in successfully an hour and a half ago to test to make sure it all works. Now it's like, now I don't work. How did it work for you?
Didn't work.
Wasn't so great. We got in.
All right.
Actually, Tanya, I feel like you get the prize for figuring out, like, having the most features. Seriously, Tanya was able to show their camera and speak, unlike the rest of us.
Here's the annoying thing. So I set up the producing and pandemic room. I tested the function of the camera, speaking to the camera, got it all to work. Did it while the Zoom was open. So I know that having the Zoom open on this computer isn't the glitch. So I don't know what's wrong, what's not letting me in. It's just now suddenly like, I don't let you in.
Oh, you couldn't even log in, Claudia?
Oh, I successfully logged in. I spent the last 10 minutes talking to myself and changing my outfit and just and fully logging out and then fully logging back in, fully shutting the computer program, fully off, fully relaunching. And I tried like 4 times. I don't know what the deal is. But y'all were able to do stuff in there. So because I recognize it is most likely going to take multiple encounters with spaces of this sort to figure out how we do theater making on them. What are the actual possibilities? I told you about that messy story with me on Second Life 7 years ago, doing a production, a Shakespeare production, and it was messy. So what did we learn? What did we experience?
So that was like, I haven't seen a bug this big in a while, so I don't know what's up. Classic Monday morning. I feel like sorry for wasting people's time. We just had like 40 people in there. Great, the other day. There was a new release this morning. So if anyone was installed yesterday and was still trying to run that could have caused the mismatch for us.
I noticed, Tyler, that my logout screen button said in the bottom right-hand corner was running version 1.6b or something. Mm-hmm. And I downloaded just today. And I could podcast, but I couldn't meet anyone and actually share any audio video. There was no intuitive way.
Something was disconnected there for sure.
I just wanted to say that I had so much joy, even though I couldn't do anything. And I just kept trying to play with things. That Carlos Alexis is running around. I'm watching Carlos Alexis just be exploring the space. I'm over here. And I was just like, the fact that Carlos Alexis is and everyone's gone and I'm still trying to log out and Carlos Alexis is like, yep, over here. It was that was so full of joy for me.
Yeah. I remember the first time I had I got this sense of spatial freedom in the platform. I was just in there with my friend and we were running around and playing tag and just being silly for literally 30 minutes and cracking up. And it was I just felt free. I didn't feel stuck in front of a Zoom call. I felt like I could run around and leave. I'm so sad that went so sour.
Yeah, so Tyler, I just want to say this out loud because we were not trying to set you and Gigi, just thank you for giving us a chance to check it out. We're not trying to set you up for failure, right? We're not trying to give you hey everybody, look at this platform, it's not working. So thank you for allowing us to stress test it. I find that when you have a group of 10 random strangers from all over the country testing your platform, you find out some stuff which is useful. And sometimes it's stuff that's only true for today. So it is my hope, I'm helping us to shut down our session for today because we're at time, but it is my hope that we will be able to try this again in the future. Is that secret password you gave us, will it remain viable? If we put in our Discord an invitation to randomly hey, I'm gonna go play in Meet Eye to Eye, somebody meet me, could we manifest that if we had
Infinity is our open world that's always open, and that password explorer is all over our website. So at any time, I think clearly something's up with the communication system. The developers are looking into it right now. And at any time you can jump in there. So perhaps once we've solved this and proven that, you know, this bug's out, classic fresh week to have a bug, we'll let this group know, and Infinity is open, so you can just jump in there and run around. It's a lot easier with just 2 people to start. A group always seems to have more links in the chain and things that go awry.
Well, I'll let you.
There's one thing we know as theater people is that, you know, rehearsal, we believe in it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
there's
Right.
talking to a group of people who get that.
So yes, this was a beautiful technical rehearsal. We were rehearsing a couple of different things. Like one of the things we've been rehearsing for the last 40 weeks is how do we, from a distance and asynchronously, rehearse the new ways of creating together. So one of those new ways is, you gave me this language, Tanya. What was it? It was a, we just did this together. It was a it was a collaborative exploration.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember what I said, but a walkthrough.
Yeah, it was like a collaborative walkthrough. I just feel like, oh, this is how we figure out how to build these new vocabularies, discover what our needs actually are. Sometimes we don't know as theater artists what we need until we're in the space, and then we discover, I wanted to do this creatively and I wasn't able to. I'm also seeing in a lot of these platforms, users finding ways to have the platform do things that the designers did not mean. But they're like, oh, I will use this tool and this tool to make this kind of interaction happen. So I'm excited about opening up those possibilities as well. Big, gigantic invite to Tyler and Gigi. You're so invited to be on the Discord if you aren't already. And just when you feel like you want to invite us back to go to Meet to Eye, because I want to do an improv game. I want us to try something out. So just put on the Discord, we'll check it out there. Thank you all for your time and the meeting for the last 40 weeks. It has been an amazing 2020. You have next week off. You have an entire Monday to not meet with us digitally, but then we're going to be starting this again. We will be in communication via the Discord and via email. Any closing remarks before we end our 2020 meeting?
Just wow and thank you. I appreciate all of you. And what a perfect, I mean, Tyler, like this is
end of 2020, disasters that happen.
Here,
hopefully 2021 is better, right? Yeah.
Hello? Can I talk to anyone? Right? Like that's 2020. Hello?
Yeah.
I'm in my home. Is anyone there? But we've done.
I'm being broadcasted.
Things.
All of those things.
Yes.
Go ahead, Rebecca. I think we've done some beautiful things together and in our own worlds. So it's great to be able to be here to share them and reflect on them and figure out how to go forward together.
Nice meeting y'all.
Yeah, thanks everybody for playing, and thank you for creating this space. And it's great to share the experience with you, even though the Meet Eye to Eye journey didn't work out great. But like we said, like there's going to be, unfortunately, we're going to have a lot more digital time ahead of us in the next few months. So yeah. Not too many of us are on the Giuliani vaccine fast track. So
Indeed. Well, I am looking forward to further explorations. So keep washing your hands, keep wearing your masks, keep taking care of yourselves and each other. Congratulations for everything you've accomplished in the last 40 weeks, and sending you so many good vibes for the future. I'm going to hit stop on the recording. So we're going to say goodbye, asynchronous audience. Goodbye.
To lose.